Welcome back to the next video in this video series, Beginner Data Science Project to Walkthrough. In the previous video, we downloaded and stored and talked about the data from the UCI Machine Learning Repository website. Again, this data set deals with wine quality, and it's a great data set because for many reasons, which we covered previously, but there's no missing variables. It's a classification, problem, and yeah, so it's very good, and so it's going to be good for this project. And so now that we have saved those two data sets, you remember there was a red wine data set and a white wine data set in our project folder, along with the Jupyter notebook, which we created at the very end of the last video. So again, if you didn't watch the last video, please go back and watch it. There's a lot of really important information there. So now we are ready to load the data. So in the previous blog post on the Titanic Kaggle data set, the beginner walkthrough, which is similar to this blog post, and linked to it, we had a section and actually a video that talked about import statements. But in case you just came straight here and didn't see it, or if you need a refresher, import statements simply add programs or make programs available. That's the way I like to phrase it, to the notebook that you're working with. Obviously, you have many programs that would be saved on your computer, and you don't need them all to be available for the particular project that you're doing. I mean, that would be crazy, right? If you're, if you have a constant goal of speed and performance and memory management, it's just not a good practice. So what the import does is it makes available those specific programs that you specify that you're going to need to complete the task, and only those programs. So, when you try to refer to a program that you haven't yet imported, you're going to get an error. Not to worry. In that case, you go back, you add that that import statement. So like, for example, if you forgot to import yellow brick, but you have yellow brick installed, then you just have to go back to that initial import statement, which also, by the way, typically tends to be at the top of the notebook. If you import everything, I mean, honestly, you can put it anywhere, but if you import everything that you need at the top, then it will work throughout the entire notebook. So again, there's simple statements, things like import yellow brick, import pandas, the different programs that we're going to need. So I have provided you the code. You just need to run the block. And again, you can run the block by clicking on the play button, or you can run it by hitting Shift and Return at the same time, or you can run it by clicking Cell and clicking Run Cells. So it's up to you. And so you do the import statements, and then you're going to read in the data. So again, in the last video, we downloaded two data sets, a red wine quality data set and a white wine quality data set. I'll just take a second to go to the page because it's helpful. Again, we went to the data folder, and here we go. We have wine quality red and wine quality white. So then you click on red, and you can see, so this is the raw information. And from here, remember, we saved this as a CSV in your project folder. But again, you can just see that one of the things to notice here is that okay, if you look at the first record, the first sample, you can see that the fixed acidity reading was 7.4, and then there's a hyphen. So the hyphen is the separator of values in that row. If you think about it in a table, it's a row, and in the sorry, I said hyphen. The semicolon is the separator. So so it will read 7.4 fixed acidity. Then it'll move to the next cell, which is in the next column. The next column is volatile acidity, and in this case, the readout is 0.7. So so that is something that is called the separator, and that is important when we go back to the code block here. You can see the SCP, which stands for separator. Sometimes it's a comma. In this case, it's a semicolon. Also, we have the header. So the header, again, when you go back here to the raw, you can see at the top, you have the column titles. That is the header row. That's the first row. And again, remember, in data science in Python, rows start at the number 0, not 1. So the first row of anything is a 0 in terms of index positioning. So that is why in the code it says header equals 0, not header equals 1. That tells the computer that the first row, row 0, is the header row. Okay? Okay. So we do that, and then we check the dimensions of the table. By running this code block here, we see that there are 1,599 rows in the red wine table and 12 columns, and then 4898 in the white, and again 12 white wine and 12 columns. From here, we do a simple view. It's always good to do run a method or a function. It's called the header function. So it's in this case red. So the name of the table is red. Of the data, sorry, data set is red. So red dot head, and then this gives you a glimpse of the first 5 rows. You can count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then red dot tail shows you the last 5 rows. And we did the same thing for white head and tail. And then we can see by looking at this that the values are floats for the most part. So float is a Python. It's a Python word, but it means decimal. It's the same thing, except for the quality, which is a score from the wine experts, and that's on a 0 to 10 basis. And so those are integers or whole numbers. So it's always something you want to look at the mix. Sometimes you'll have text in there. Sometimes it'll be a variable character where it's like a text and a number. Sometimes it's just text like yes, no, etc. So, but here we have decimals and we have whole numbers or integers. So that's good in terms of being readable for the program, for the notebook, in terms of doing analysis. So that is good. Again, just to remind you before we wrap this video is that the purpose of this project is to predict the wine score. So that is the quality, and that is your target. So again, what we're simply doing is we're analyzing these other variable columns like fixed acidity, citric acid, pH, sulfates, alcohol, to predict, to try to predict the quality. And in the next video, we're going to begin the exploratory data analysis phase. Again, put any questions or comments in the box comments below. Thank you for watching.